in the year 2000, I didn't have any money. If anyone ever thought they were broke, I would challenge them on that, because I was less than broke. I had no money for food, struggling to put any money in the petrol in the tank in the car. I'd have $2 or $3 in my pocket and I'd put it into the petrol geyser and hope it'd get me to the next block where I'd have to go to do my next job. That was how tough it was. I actually was in a place called Darling Harbour in Sydney, and what happened was I saw this Money Expo advertising going on. I went, money? I'd like to be exposed to some of that, as if I know what that would look like, quite seriously. And I didn't have any money in my pocket. I went up all excited to go in the front door. I didn't even have $20 to get in that front door. So I actually, being a tradesman, knew all the tradesmen's entrances, and so I snuck in the back through the tradesmen's entrance, and I got into the expo, and when I got there I heard this gentleman talking, and I sat in the back because I was pretty embarrassed about how I looked, and this bald-headed guy was sharing this information about business, and I still remember today what this gentleman said. He says, look, I got no problem if someone's broke, but I got a real problem if they stay broke, because it's up to them. And that hit me right between the eyes. I mean, I was 35 at this time, and it was, pretty sad that I had nothing to my name. So I said, you know what, I got to do something. And that moment, I knew this person was the person I needed to listen to. Now, I had no money, and he made an offer. He made an offer for a product. I think it was like $400 or something like that at the time. I had no hope of getting it. I didn't know how I would get it. I was lucky that this guy took a chance on me. He saw me in the background, writing every word down, I think, that he was saying out of his mouth. And he actually, after he did his presentation, he came up and he saw me and he says, hey, I'm glad you liked my presentation. What's your name? I know, seriously, I thought I'd been busted and somehow I'd have to find $20 to actually shell out for the thing. But it wasn't. He just took my name and my address and said, I'm glad you liked the information. So about a week later, some information landed on my front door, how to turn an ordinary business into an extraordinary business. Now, quite honestly, I just think he took pity on me because I didn't pay for this stuff. It was either pity or they did some mix-up with the paperwork. But anyway, I saw this information, and when I read it, I started devouring everything, and I simply put everything that it said in the book into my electrical contracting business, which was really non-existent. And it told the story about this FAI company and how they delivered outstanding service, and how, if you do the right things and you give outstanding service to clients, they'll tell their friends. Well, that was the beginning of me starting to get some money in my electrical contracting business, and enough money to join this gentleman's training, his elite training. Now, that gentleman was called Mal Emery. He was my first mentor. He opened up this world to me, and I actually started making some money. It was a really new experience to me, and I was excited about making this money. And my wife had actually started to see money for the first time in quite a while. But you got to understand the reality. So when I make money, generally you like to hold on to it and bank it. Maybe most people like to go and buy a house and do this and buy a nice car and get doodads. I would go, as soon as Mal came into town, I knew he'd have more knowledge, and I would be the first person at the door waiting there to learn this new knowledge. And as soon as Mal said, hey, you need this for your business, I was the first person at the table to buy that product. And then as soon as I bought that product, it would come off my credit card, which just started going down in its limit because it always maxed out. And I'd go home and I'd just subtly mention to my wife I sort of kind of bought something. It didn't go down too well. And the reality was that I knew I needed this information. I knew in my heart that if I knew this knowledge and I understood it, it would transform our lives. But my wife was never part of the environment, never saw this knowledge and couldn't understand the impact it could have on our lives. It was very challenging because we had quite a few, let's just call it heated discussions about the pros and cons of Mal Emery. But I will tell you here and now that the investment that I made, and because I stuck to my beliefs that I really needed this knowledge and I invested back in myself, the returns have come back to me well over 15 times. Every dollar that I've spent in my self-education, learning all this new knowledge and investing in myself, it was like I'd never seen so much money in my entire life. It was just coming from left, right and centre, because what I'd done was I mastered the art of marketing and sales. And none of my competitors had any idea how to approach clients, how to understand what was motivating them. But because I'd invested in this knowledge and this information, I was converting clients at 70, 80%. And very quickly, I built one of the largest air conditioning companies really in Australia, domestic air conditioning companies. It was Marsh air conditioning. I was doing, around $12 million a year. That wasn't too bad, I thought. I was very proud of myself. One problem, and that was I'd mastered the art of sales and marketing. But what I didn't master was the art of systems and accountability. And what happened was within 3 years, I went from 0 to around 12 mil. And what happened was, because I didn't have systems, accountability, I trusted everyone in my organisation. I believed in my heart that no one would ever steal from me. The reality was I had pretty well a $10 million education. It was very painful for me, and I actually lost everything that I possessed. I went bankrupt. It was a painful experience for me. If you can imagine having to explain to your wife that at 1 minute she could buy anything, go anywhere, do anything, have anything that she desired. And we're going for trips to Europe and cruising down the river and experiencing everything in life. And then I can't even put food on the table. I'm back to ground zero again, and I don't have any money because I had to declare bankruptcy. It was a very tough time in my life. I couldn't have gotten any lower because I knew what I'd achieved. I was very proud of what I achieved. I felt like a failure. I felt I wasn't worthy of anything. How could I be such an idiot and let this happen to my family? How could I not provide for my children? How could I not give the woman of my dreams everything that she desires? And I felt compelled to go and see Mal because he was the one that actually helped me get this success in the first place, because he opened up this whole new world to me. I hopped on a plane and went to Perth, and I told Mal what had happened. I said, look, this will be the last time you see me, Mal, because I know I've been in your platinum group for a long time and I've achieved a lot, but I've had to declare bankruptcy out of my own stupidity. And I felt I had to thank you personally for all the help you've given me over the years and how you helped me grow it up. But I'm actually going to go to Byron Bay, get really drunk and look at naked women. He looked at me. He said, Ian, if that's the case, this will be the last conversation we have, and I wish you well, thanks for coming. But here's the reality. You just had a $10 million education, you idiot. Wake up to yourself. And if you're willing to give it another go, you've still got all the knowledge in your head. So stop feeling sorry for yourself, dust yourself off and do it again. Now, if anyone knew Mal, they would understand how that conversation went. He's a gruff old bugger. But the reality is it's just exactly what I needed, because what I did was then rebuild another company within a year doing $8 million that I then sold. So, that was pretty good, because once you get this knowledge in your head, you don't leave it. It's there forever. And the benefit is I now have X-ray vision. The reality is any business I go into and any organisation that I see, nearly instantly I can determine if something smells off, because I've gone through that experience. But I stayed in Mal's program, and while I was in Mal's program, this gentleman called Jeremy Young saw what had happened to me, and he resonated with me for some reason, I don't know why. But he'd seen the progress that I'd had and the success that I'd achieved in my air conditioning companies. And he came up to me and said, Ian, I've seen what you've done. I've got a business and I'm in trouble, and I think you're the guy that could come and help me turn it around. This was on the Gold Coast. And I said, Jeremy, I'd love to help you, but I don't know how to save a business. You're talking to the wrong guy. Mal, I can introduce you to him. Go and see Mal. He's the guy that can help you. And Jeremy walked away, and I thought nothing of it. But about half an hour later, he came back to me again and he said, Ian, I'm really in serious trouble now. I know you're the one that can help me fix my business. It's not Mal, I'm sure it's you. And I was flattered. I said, well, gee, thanks, Jeremy. But honestly, just not that I don't want to help you, but I've just never done this for anyone else. Please, let me take you over to Mal, let's have a chat. He goes, no, it's all right. And he went away again. But 5 minutes later, this same guy, he's a real man's man. He's a true blue Aussie, Tyler, came to me and he's got tears in his eyes. And he says, Ian, if you don't come and have a look at my business, I know you're the person that can save me from this situation. Not only will I lose my business, I'll lose my house and I'll lose my wife. Please, just one day, that's all I ask. I'll pay you whatever I have. I don't have much money, but I'll pay you whatever I have. Could you please come? Well, how do you say no to that? So I did go over there and I did have a look at his business, and I thought I'd done some dumb things in my first company, but I felt a lot better after I saw how he was running his organisation. I really was in shock. I gave him some guidance. I gave him a 10-step plan. His staff were taking advantage of him. He didn't have any structures in place. I mean, none. It was amazing. So I gave him some sales advice and I told him to hurry up and fix his team up and gave him a 10-point action plan to put in place. And when I handed it to him, I thought I'd never hear from him again. I wished him all the best. About 3 months later, Jeremy rings me out of the blue. He says, "Ian, I can't thank you enough." I go, "What? What are you talking about?" He says, "Ian, money's coming in left, right and centre. I've managed to pay back my debt. My wife thinks I'm a hero. I just can't thank you for your help, Ian. Anything you want, I just name it." Now, that was a company called Style Edge on the Gold Coast, and he went on to do some amazing things. At that moment, I lost all interest in the air conditioning industry and knew that my mission was to go and help business owners improve their company. And that's how I then went into consulting. I went home that afternoon and said, "Honey, we're not doing air conditioning anymore. I'm going to become a full-time business consultant." And yeah, you can imagine the conversation that happened when I said that. I opened a business called Tradesman Profits, and I was helping these tradesmen. And very quickly I was making incredible money and loving the world of consulting, but I was helping all of these tradesmen that had no idea how to run their business, and I was transforming their lives. Every day it was just another success story. I was in my element. But then the tables turned. You see, my mentor, the gentleman that had opened up this new world to me, he was in trouble. His wife, that he loved very much, got cancer, and it was taking its toll on Mal. And Mal was really showing the signs of it when I saw him at a platinum group that we were at. And I said to Mal, I said, "Mal, please tell me, are you okay? You've done so much to help me." Mal shared with me, he shared how his wife got cancer and how it was really having an effect on him. And I said, "Look, Mel, would you like me to come over there and run the company for you for 3 or 4 months while you spend this important time with your wife?" And Mel really appreciated that. So I hopped on a plane to Perth, of all places, the most remote city in the entire world. That's a fact. I didn't know it at the time. And I ran the organisation while Mel was dealing with this trauma. And I didn't want the environment to disappear. Mel was actually going to close the doors and do something different. That chapter of his life was going to go away and he was going to do something else. But I knew the impact that Mel was having on business owners around Australia. I didn't want to see that environment die, and so I did everything I could to breathe life back into what was then known as magnetic marketing, which was his organisation. Anyway, after a few months, Mel saw what I was doing, and he saw the impact that we were having and how we were breathing life back into the business. So Mel made me a pretty compelling offer. He said, "Ian, I love what you're doing. Would you like to stay here and work with me?" Well, he's my mentor, and who wouldn't say no to working with Mel Emery and running the organisation with him and getting this information? And now I don't have to pay for it. I'm getting it for free. So I did say, on one condition, Mel, and that is that I can grow the organisation the way I want to grow it, and you allow me largely to have free rein. You'll have veto, total veto, but I want to be able to run it the way I want to run it and grow the organisation to where we can get it to. Within a year and a half, we'd quadrupled the size of the organisation after I joined forces with Mel. And Mel obviously liked that as well, and then he made me a second compelling offer, and that was, "Ian, would you like to be my partner?" So once again I said, who wouldn't want to be Mel Emery's partner? And so that's how we ended up becoming business partners. So now, over the last 7 years, I've spent my life helping business owners transform their organisations and their lives, which really makes it worthwhile for me. And you know, it just amazes me the impact that the right knowledge at the right time can have on an individual. So I'd like to just share with you some of the people that have actually had access and been exposed to the right information at the right time and the results that they've achieved in their company.
Hi, I'm Jarno. I've been in the Street Smart Business Advisory training now. It's been 4 really great days. I learned how to set up my own consulting business. It was really systemized. I know how to get leads, get sales, and then really help the client to get their business a lot better. So I'm really looking forward to the future. Now, a few months down the road, I have used the strategies I learned during that course for my own business. It's a horse training business, and really my revenue exploded. We are even more successful than we already were. I'll also have a few clients that I consult, and every investment, every dollar I invested in Street Smart, it came back really multiply with 3. So I'm really pleased with it. So thank you, Ian, for the training. Thank you.
I went to business school and I heard Ian say, if you want to change your life, stay for the next session. And I thought, yeah, that's me. I want to change my life because I was in business for 12 years. I suppose I was a bit skeptical when I heard him talk. That is, I thought, yes, it sounds too good to be true. But when he spoke about it, and I thought, I have those qualities being a teacher. I do like helping people. I can learn, I enjoy learning, and I can follow instructions, and I'm good with people. So I thought, I'm going to give this a go. So that's really what decided me. Absolutely. He's definitely a man of his word. Yes. I thought it was excellent being a teacher. I've been on many courses, and often they used to say, if you come away from a conference with one good piece of information, then that's good. And I'm not just saying this, but every single morsel of knowledge was invaluable. And we would start about 8:30, and I think we'd finish about 6. Of course, we'd had a couple of breaks in between, but it was so worthwhile. It made so much sense and so valuable and so methodical. It was excellent. Fantastic. And even still ongoing, because I can text Ian, I can email him. The other day I had a phone call with him. I booked a phone call because I just needed put back on track a little. Andrea, Street Smart's there. The support's excellent. The material is excellent, and there's so much of it. I know one of my colleagues that was on the course, he's studying 2 hours a day and to get through it. There's so much of it, but it's all worthwhile. There's no waffle in it. It's straight to the point. It's practical. It's not theory that you can't put into practice. It's really practical and addresses all the aspects of business that people need to know to grow their business. So it's excellent material. Well, when I went to Fiji, I just wanted rid of my business. I have a tuition service, and I was so fed up with it. I just wanted rid of it. Ian changed my mind about that and reignited the passion, if you like. Since coming back, I had let the student numbers drop to 44 because I really wasn't interested. Since coming back, we're now up to 62. I've taken on a new teacher who's doing high school maths. I'm actually, this morning before I did this hangout, I had Street Smart do flyers. I walked around one of the more affluent suburbs and delivered 60 flyers. I have a marketing plan, which I never had before. I'm doing joint ventures. A lady from a childcare centre yesterday came in. I gave her leaflets, and I'm going to see her this afternoon. I phoned up another childcare centre and asked if they would take leaflets. So I'm actually, for the first time in 12 years, I believe I'm actually working on the business. And I know they bandy that term about, but I'm actually working on it rather than in it. So it's become more of a business rather than a job, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I'm enjoying learning about that aspect. I've also done 3 videos on reading, uploaded 2 of those to my Facebook page. The first one had about 540 hits, I think. Yesterday's went up, and that's had about 250 hits. And I'm starting to grow my database and using it. So a lot of changes. I've made a lot of changes. I would say go for it. If you're really serious, I would say absolutely go for it. And as Ian says, the only one that will stop you being a success is yourself. If you don't believe in yourself and if you don't follow the system, you have to believe in yourself. There's no reason not to follow the system because the support's there if you get bogged down in it. And I would say if you do want to change your life, then definitely go for it.
All right. Okay. I joined the Street Smart Advisor program. At the time, I was struggling to find the best solution for helping my clients and also to build my own business. I came across Street Smart on the Gold Coast. I met Ian Marsh, and he introduced me to their system, system of sales and marketing. At the time, I thought that was the best possible solution, and I still do. It's added a lot of structure and given me a system where I can help not only myself build a great business, but it's also given me a really good tool to actually help my clients build success. Now, everything that's basically was promised in that presentation about what I could do with that advisor's training has actually happened to me. What I expected from the Street Smart Advisor program was that I was basically going to Fiji to get a system on how to implement it into my business. I'd also looked at the other side of it and thought about how long it would take me to actually develop that system, and I estimated probably would have been about 2 years. So I would have had a long delay between when I'd actually put it into play, or planned it and then started to put it into place. When I went to Fiji, that's what I was looking for, was a system. After the week, I felt I'd got a lot more than what I'd actually my perception of what I expected to get. Ian had a great presentation for the 6 days. I got a lot of insights into what had happened in his past, and we got that information, and that's helped me a lot. But also, we had Roy McDonald there as well, and he basically changed the mindset of pretty much everyone in that course, and it's just helped me implement that system so much better. And both Ian and Roy, they work as a bit of a tag team in the course, and he just gets so much benefit from the two of them presenting. Ian made some promises before we went to the advisor training. There was, he promised that when we came back, we'd have a great system to implement, and he was going to give us, the tools on how to do that. And I'm very glad to say that for myself, those promises were kept, and I have a business which I did the training in at the start of the year, and my business has basically grown every month since then. The material in the Street Smart Advisor training is very comprehensive. It lays a roadmap down on exactly what you need to do to achieve success for yourself or your own, or for any other client's business. It really shows you the way to actually do it in a very detailed and very simple way of doing it. So apart from that roadmap, it's also got all the resources you need. And at the moment, I'm still looking through it all and finding something new every week. There is a lot to learn, but there's so much value in it. I'm still finding that value after a few months of reading the material. The actual training at Fiji was very dynamic. We had a bit of a tag team. Roy would take over the first couple of hours in the morning, Ian then the next couple. Then Roy would take over after lunch, and then Ian would finish at the end of the day, or vice versa. And it kept the mood in the room very, moving really quickly. You didn't get bored at all, and there was so much that we learnt in that week. It was their presentation was so interesting. We also there was a lot of the advisors in the room. I also got to interact a lot in the training, so I wasn't just sitting there listening to a lecture. It was a whole lot of getting involved in all the different parts of it, and also looking at some of the other people in the advisors' businesses in the room. I think a few of them went away with some very good solutions to their problems, and so it was very, very helpful. Well, the results I've achieved in my business has been that my business is growing every month, and I'm on target to reach the goals that I've put myself. And that was one of the things we set over in Fiji, was to actually put down some goals, and we were given some very good tools to actually implement those. I'm still using those every day. Roy in particular was focusing on the mindset and how to implement your goals, and that's helped quite a lot since then. It's kept me very focused. It's also given me a lot more confidence in how I approach clients. How I can solve their problems. How I have a whole different mindset on how I charge fees, and the value I bring to clients. If you're one of those people that are sitting on the fence and can't decide on where you want to take your business, there's two scenarios, and basically I've been through both of them. You can either sit back and just gradually grow your business organically, and what happens is that you may take 2 or 3 years to build it. You're just building it to whatever comes along. The other way, and it's very frustrating to actually run a business like that. I've grown one business that way, and I'm now growing it the alternative way, and that's with the help of Ian and his Street Smart system. This way, you know clearly where you want to go, how you want to build it, and this system really gives you the structure on how to do it. Look, I should have my money back within 6 months, and quite easy. I probably feel that it's probably going to be quicker than that. But if you're sitting on the fence, I'd suggest that Ian's Street Smart system of becoming a business advisor is the way to go. And whether you use it to become a business advisor, or whether you use it to rejig your business, I think it's the best system I've seen.